Lesson 63, Leaving Out the Pronoun. Okay, Antonio, this is a pretty important lesson for our listeners to understand, isn't it?
Yes, Bill, this is very important. So students, please pay attention to this lesson.
Don't fall asleep. This is the time to pay attention, right? Okay, well, up to this point, we've been stressing pronouns along with the verbs, right?
Yes.
So, like our example here, yo soy. Yo is the pronoun, which means I, and soy is the verb, which means am. But now we're going to advance beyond that, and we're going to learn about how we can leave out the pronoun and just say the verb only. So what we're learning here is that the word soy means I am all by itself. In other words, the I and the am are both included. Both words are included in the word soy. Isn't that right, Antonio?
Yes, that's correct.
And the reason this is the case is because, again, Spanish comes from Latin, and in Latin, the word for I am is sum, S-U-M. And sum means I am all by itself. There's also a Latin word for I, which is ego, so you can say ego sum or just sum. And so these words, yo and soy, they come from the Latin words ego. Over time, the word ego changed to just yo, and then the Latin word sum, over time, that changed to become soy. So the way the verbs are constructed and the way you can leave out the pronoun, all of this stuff comes from Latin. Antonio, why is it that sometimes a Spanish speaker would include the pronoun, but other times they would leave out the pronoun? What would be the circumstances surrounding that?
Well, when in the conversation is very clear who you're talking about, then it kind of becomes unnecessary to say the pronoun. So that's why people tend to omit the pronoun, because when it's very, very clear who is it you're talking about, it is acceptable to omit the pronoun.
So the pronoun could be used just for the sake of clarity or for the sake of emphasis?
Yes, Bill, it's for both clarity and emphasis. For example, if I say, you like fajitas, but I like burritos, then I'm kind of emphasizing the pronoun there. Same thing applies in Spanish.
So in a sentence like that, it's like you're drawing a contrast. You're saying, the person you're talking to, you're saying, well, you like this, but I like that. It's like you're using the word I to draw a contrast or to show the difference.
Yes, Bill, that's right. That's a good example of when to put in the pronoun. Now let's talk about when is it that we can leave out the pronoun. Let's give some examples. For example, here on Lesson 63, we have one sentence, one example. It reads, Yo no tengo un hermano, pero tengo una hermana. It translates to, I do not have a brother, but I have a sister. Okay, in this sentence, we're definitely talking about me. So the first part of a sentence, the first half of the sentence, I say that I don't have a brother. I did say the pronoun in Spanish.
This sentence is sort of divided into two parts. Like there's the part at the beginning that says, I don't have a brother. Then you have a comma. Then the second half says, but I have a sister.
Yes, in the first half, in Spanish, I did say the pronoun. In the second half, I omitted it. Unlike English. In English, as you can see, obviously you do say the pronoun in both parts of the sentence. But in Spanish, it's very obvious that I'm still talking about me.
Because the verb tengo includes I in it.
Yes, Bill, we don't need to say yo because tengo already has the word I or yo embedded in it. So basically, tengo includes both the pronoun and the verb.
So in the second half of the sentence, where it says, but I have a sister, if there was some need for us to emphasize I, then we could repeat the pronoun yo, and we could put yo in there, but there's no reason really to include yo. We're not drawing a contrast. There's no need really to emphasize I in the second half of the sentence. Is there, Antonio?
No, there is not.
So that's an example of a place where you could leave out the pronoun. You don't have to have it. What if you are a Spanish speaker and you just simply don't feel like leaving out the pronoun? Could you just put in the pronoun just because you feel like it?
Well, you could, but it's definitely unnecessary because by saying the first half of that sentence, it was already made clear who was it you were talking about.
Okay, let's review a little bit here. If you're speaking Spanish and there's a place where you want to emphasize someone, then you can use the pronoun to do that, to be clear or to emphasize something. In situations like that, you can use the pronoun. But in other situations where it's already very clear who is being referred to, in situations like that, you can leave out the pronoun, and it's all right. Is that correct, Antonio?
That's correct.
So one of the main things that we want you to take away from this lesson is the fact that in a Spanish verb, the pronoun is embedded into the verb. That the word soy includes the I and the am all in one word. So soy means I am all by itself, and you can use the word yo, the pronoun, with that if you want to emphasize or something like that. But let's be clear, the word soy includes the I and the am. And all the other verbs are like that too. Every Spanish verb includes the pronoun in it. And you can use the pronoun that goes with that verb for clarity or emphasis. And as we go through the exercises, we're going to talk about this and we're going to see examples of exercises where we do not have a pronoun, and we will explain those as we come to them. Now, Antonio, some of our exercises are going to be the kinds of statements that you might hear in a genuine Spanish conversation, right?
Yes.
So sometimes we'll just leave the pronoun out just for practice, just to see some of the kinds of sentences that you might see in a real Spanish conversation. Okay, let's take a look at our exercises here. In number 1, we have yo tengo, and that means I have. Un means a or an, and perro means dog. So number 1 will say, I have a dog. In number 2, it's basically the same sentence, except we are missing the word yo. So our sentence says, tengo un perro. The word tengo, all by itself, means I have. It includes the I, the pronoun, and it includes the verb have, all in one word. So tengo means I have, un means a or an, and perro means dog. So number 2 will say, I have a dog. And the point we're trying to make here, by having exercise 1 and exercise 2 right next to one another, is that you can have Joe or not have Joe, and the sentence means basically the same thing. We do the same thing with exercises 3 and 4. They're the same except for the pronoun, tú. In number 3, we have the pronoun, and so tú tienes means you have, un means a or an, and gato means cat. So number 3 says you have a cat. In number 4, we leave out the pronoun tú, and we just have tienes un gato. So the word tienes includes both you and have. It means you have all by itself, all in one word. So number 4 says, you have a cat. In number 5, él means he, and the verb is tiene. That means has, but it's being negated by the word no. So él no tiene means he does not have. Un hermano means a brother. So the first part of this sentence will say, he does not have a brother. Then we have the word pero, which means but, and then our verb here is tiene. I'll talk more about that in just a second. And then we have dos hermanas. Dos hermanas means 2 sisters. Now the verb tiene is third person singular. You can tell that by looking at the ending. So that can mean he has, she has, or it has. In this situation, it means he has, because we've already seen the pronoun he from the first part of the sentence. There's no need to repeat the pronoun again. We already know who the verb is referring to. So number 5, as a whole, will read like this. He does not have a brother, but he has 2 sisters. So in the second part of the sentence, we do not need to say the pronoun él all over again. We can just leave it out. In number 6, we have nosotras somos. That means we are. However, notice the ending of nosotras is as. That means it's feminine, and it's referring to females only. Then we have the word amigas, which means friends. So number 6 will say, we are friends. In number 7, the sentence is very similar to number 6, except we do not have the pronoun nosotras. All we have is somos amigas. Now the verb somos means we are all by itself. It includes we and it includes are. So just the word somos alone means we are, and then the word amigas means friends. So number 7 will say, we are friends. In number 8, we have the verb soy, and soy means I am all by itself. It includes the I and it includes am. So soy means I am, and un hombre means a man. So number 8 will say, I am a man. In number 9, mi padre means my father. Our verb here is tiene, but it's being negated by the word no, and so mi padre no tiene means my father does not have. Then we have the word su, which means his or her. In this case, it means his, and carro means car. So the first part of this sentence will say, my father does not have his car. Then we have the word pero, which means but, and then the verb tiene. We'll translate tiene as he has. The verb tiene is third person singular, and we already know who the subject of the verb is. We already know that it's my father, so there's no need to repeat that over again. Then we have su, which means his, and dinero, which means money. So number 9 altogether will say, my father does not have his car, but he has his money. In number 10, ellos tienen says they have. El gato means the cat. Then we have the word de, which means of. And mi mamá means my mom. So number 10 will say, literally, they have the cat of my mom. But it would sound better in translation to say it like this. They have my mom's cat.